that I'm becoming the minister tomorrow. It's not the question of changing cars and having a flag flying around. No, there are responsibilities which you have to take before you assume the office. And I feel so sorry for him because he is crying crocodile tears, or else he knows very well what goes on in administrative issues. And Kijura said it. This is an administrative issue. And that is what the questions we are raising. We are not saying that he is the one who stole the money. But why did he's in the office for almost now 3 or 4, 5, 6 months? What was he doing before the president started rebuking him? Where was he? So you don't have to wait until the rain starts beating you. You start making a house, putting your house in order. So you Kijura need to put their house in order. Whether Auditor General is raising queries, whether whoever is raising queries, you need to be the first person to blow the whistle. Okay. But what is coming from all of you is that he needs to step aside until he's cleared. No, not to step aside. I tell Kijura to resign and join me in business. Okay. This whole issue of maize crisis that we're facing as Kenyans right now will not end, and of course we'll continue keeping a keen eye on this story as it continues to develop. Let's cross over now to Migori County. The governor is a free man, but with conditions. One, he needs not to comment about the case that's before the court, and of course even us will be limited because we really don't want to talk about a court case. And secondly, when it also comes to his movement, he's also limited, and owing to the fact that his home is in Rapogi, which is close to Homa Bay border, he must avoid it to remain free. So it begs. Just hold on, Mr. Bichachi. It begs the question, how will he lead his people? Because if 20 kilometers within the Homa Bay border, Migori border, how will you travel to other interior parts of Migori to try and lead your people, and also in terms of integrity, and also at a time when even some of the people he's leading in Migori are also questioning, his leadership owing to the case that he's facing?
I said this on Sunday on this platform, and I'll say it again. Those who troll me on social media, you can start now. Listen, there is no way you are a governor of a county and you say you're doing your job from a prison cell. There is no way you can say you're a governor of a county and you're facing cases like this and you don't have the decency to step down. Our own president, President Uhuru Kenyatta, when he had to go to The Hague, had to make a big show of going to parliament and handing over to his deputy so that the country could function. Listen, this idea that people are irreplaceable, they're untouchable, they're whatever, needs to stop. But the governor he stands innocent until proven guilty. We need to understand that morality is above legality. The right thing is not always the legal thing. And this is what we need to draw the line about. It's the same thing we are saying about Kijura. You need to have a moral standard. What do you owe the people of Migori? What you owe the people of Migori is undivided attention and focus on what you're supposed to do. And any time something comes up and you can't do it, then you have to step down. I wonder, how is it that a fake wrestler, a fake fighter in the United States would step down from being champion, because he wants to go to hospital? Then in Kenya, someone who's functionally unable to do their job still wants to remain in office. But how can someone who's beaten in the head every day think better than most Kenyans? But Ms. Wako, one of the arguments that was fronted by Honorable Obado's lead counsel, that is Mr. Ombeta, he was saying that he needs to carry out his duty as the governor of Migori County, because being in prison for 34 days, that's like a month. That's also, it's like a month and 4 days.
Need is a strong word. There is a deputy, there is delegation. So not necessarily, and it's not that someone's on an operating table and he's the only surgeon who can perform this surgery. No. So as long as we've crossed that out, I think we can remove the word need. I don't think it's necessary. But also this case has honestly tired me to the core, because I feel there's so many different rhetorics and stories around it that we've lost focus on what actualities are. And so as what Buchachi has just said in terms of there's a difference between moral and legality. And it's very true, because right now we're concerned about him doing his job, but our
He's also
governors
limited.
doing their job. I mean, what work? What job? What work? So, you know, for me, I just feel that we're completely missing what's important in this case and what's important in this story. A life was lost. A life was lost. And work, somebody else can replace you. We all know that. Even with your job right now, you're currently replacing somebody. It goes on. The county will go on.
Okay.
And Obado does not have to feel that he must be the one leading for it to function.
Okay,
That's
and Honorable Mutambo, and let me just read for you, let me just get the exact quotation from what Justice Lasit said. Issued the bail orders on the governor who is charged with murder of university student Sharon Otieno, and asked the governor whether he knows the boundary of Migori County. And the boundary is that 20 kilometers, like he should not get out of 20 kilometers, the 20-kilometer radius outside Migori County. So clearly the governor is limited in terms of his movement, and clearly also when he's needed probably to travel outside the country for benchmarking or maybe to strike deals for he cannot, because again his travel documents have been submitted in court, which begs the question, how will the governor perform with all these limitations that has been put there by the court?
You know, what we need to be dealing here with is not the courts and what the court says. It's the moral values. How do I take it? I have been accused of murdering somebody. I'm being perceived as a murderer. Who want to come to my office in the first place? It is about me. I don't need to wait for the judge to tell me what to do or Kenyans to think about me. It's about my moral values. And if I want to play Mr. Clean and say, you know what, the Constitution gives me the right and it says I'm innocent and you proven guilty, to hell with the Constitution. It's about yourself. It's about yourself. Let me ask you, if somebody says that I'm a rapist or a murderer, would you marry me tomorrow? So who is that who want to go to the office?
It's a trick question.
Who would want to go to a murderer's office? This is a question we need to ask ourselves. So our Constitution is also helping, criminals to remain in the office. Let me put it that way. And allow me for the lack of better words. Our Constitution is allowing criminals to remain in the office because our Constitution gives the murderers bail. Okay? And you will see so many people outside there, civil society, pardon me, saying that, you know, he's innocent and he has to be free. And we have seen it. People freed and they go and commit same. This is not the first case and I'm sorry, I'm not his lawyer. I don't want to talk about issues in court. It's not the first case for Obado. It's not the first one. He's been mentioned in many. I'm not saying that he is guilty. But he's been mentioned into many. So why would I want to go to that office? So my moral values and my conscience will not allow me to go to that office. Actually, the moment I step out from the prison, I'll tell the people of Migori, I am resigning. It's not a matter of life and death for me to be governor. I can do other things. I tell them my name has been tarnished. I want to clean my name, and I don't want that job.
But, you know, at the same time, lady and gentlemen, let's look at it also from a political angle. Ever since this case started, when the murder of Sharon Otieno, the public got to know about the university student, that she was killed, there's been a lot of political play around it, such that his political, you call it frenemies in the political field, have used that against him.
No, but you see, before I say something, it is what has come to get Obado. In the first place, why would you be involved in such an incident, number one? And why would you call somebody? And what we've been following, if I would follow what the media has been saying, you want to tell my wife that I was meeting with you? When do you want to tell my wife? I will call her. Tell her, why would you kill somebody, for God's sake? You see, it is all what is involved. I mean, the whole thing is sickening. And I will not even be involved in such a thing.
But as we speak right now, as we my argument is based on the Constitution, that he stands innocent until proven guilty by the prosecution in the court.
You see,
Mr.
let's be very clear. And I keep saying that this country needs to come to a moral evaluation of itself. The issues here are twofold. There is the issue of, are you able to lead when you're under investigation? There is a PS of youth who was indicted. She is no longer serving. Okay? What is the difference between that PS and a governor?
Yeah.
That's question number one. Why do we have this moral unequivalence, this moral confusion, that suddenly when someone is a political player and he is caught in a mistake, no, it's his enemies, but when they're a permanent secretary, we're like, put her, lock her up. You know, that's how we are. I don't understand. It is a false equivalence. Why would we impeach Elachi for trips and then Obado is in office? This is madness.
But the members...
Therefore, but my second argument is, there was a guy called Strauss-Kahn. Strauss-Kahn was going to run for president of France, okay? And a lady said that this guy abused me in the hotel room. It was later found out that this lady was lying, and she had even told her boyfriend that she's going to do it to get money. But Strauss-Kahn had the moral character and dignity to say that if this stain is on me, let me stay out of the election until it is done. My question is, where is that standard of morality?
As much as you're talking about standards of morality, and it's good you've also given an example of what happened in Nairobi County, the impeachment of Beatrice Elachi.
Yes.
And just recently, as much as the governor was in prison before he was freed on bail, members of the County Assembly of Migori said they were not in a hurry. They were not in a hurry to impeach him, to have him out of office. They were not in a hurry. Clearly, it shows that the people representing, the leaders who've been elected by the residents of Migori to actually lead them and to bring development, have confidence with their governor in terms of delivery. And we've not also seen residents of Migori County coming out to say the governor needs to step aside. Ms. Wako.
That is so complicated, because as much as we're talking about them having confidence in their leader, we have to understand that Migori is a county where it also just had a by-election. And I would say there's a lot of psychophancy. That is the word I can put it, where people will follow a particular individual, not because they are a great leader, but because of the party they stand in or who they believe to support. So already, if I was to do a social audit, I would believe your statement is skewed, in my opinion. Because if I'm to look at how a person is leading, I would be more concerned about the development in that county. And if you can show me in terms of development, this is how he's doing well, this is why we have confidence in him, fine. But if you talk to me in an individual kind of basis, I will not have time to be able to conversate with you.
I just want to throw in a question, very short question. Who shot at Joho in Migori? The goons in Migori come from where? Who's in charge of the biggest cartels of people who harass people in politics? If you can answer that question, then we will have finished.
But you have to substantiate, Mr. Bichachi, your question.
I can substantiate. Your own footage, KTN News footage, shows a gang attacking Joho before the elections of 2017. My question is very simple.
But we do not have a report from the investigative officer saying that so and so is responsible for this.
I have not claimed anyone is responsible.
Okay.
I've said if you want to understand the politics of that area, understand who is in charge of those goods.
Okay. You'll have to substantiate that. Let me cross over to to Honorable Mutambo. And I asked a question which I don't feel like any of you has answered, and that is in charge of the challenge that Obado will face while he's accessing his county without violating the court order. Because you can imagine 20 kilometers of Migori boundary. 20 kilometers rather. And here you have to access even the interior places to serve your people. And here there's a court order that says, until you're not supposed to go.
You see, for Obado, what he needed is to be out of that jail. Even if you told him 1 kilometer, he'll say yes. So that he gets out of. The question is, are court orders obeyed in our country? That is number one. Then number two, where you need to ask ourselves, who do we elect? Good people are not elected in Kenya. Performers are not elected in Kenya. Those who can deliver are not elected in Kenya. Those who can deliver services to people are not